If you're a 30-year-old Singaporean working hard and earning decent money, but you're always thinking that your body is paying the price for it, this video is for you. I used to know so many other physios with back pain, shoulder pain, wrist pain, whatever it is, you name it, they'll have it, and somehow we're just expected to continue doing this job all the way until retirement. And the scary part is, a lot of us don't think about investing until something starts hurting really badly, either physically, mentally, or maybe both. I was lucky enough to start thinking about this a bit earlier, and by around 31 years old, I had built my first $100,000 investing portfolio while still working full-time as a physio. So in this video, I'll walk you through how I would start investing in Singapore with $10,000, the exact app I personally use, how I deposit my money step by step, and later I'll even show you my own account so you can see how this actually works in real life. So let's first talk about the true cost of not investing, especially as a healthcare worker like myself living in Singapore. Most of us are earning decent money, but the truth is we are kind of paying for it with our bodies. I was doing so many things manually, like transferring patients, doing manual therapy, and I used to always ask myself this question back when I was working in the hospital. Where in the freaking world were the physios in the 50s? I don't see any of them. There were only physios who were in the 40s, and even then, as people rise up to different roles, they tend to move into management roles and they stop doing manual work anymore. So then the golden question came, how long can I do this job before my body breaks down and I'm forced to retire early? You know, being a physio myself, I see so many of my patients who are in desk-bound jobs. Most people, they work with computers, right? And so many of them have neck pain, back pain, whatever it is, you name it, they definitely have something, and they're just struggling with it and thinking to themselves, oh, how nice it would be if I can retire in about 5 years or 10 years. But they need to kind of push through this pain and sort of tahan and tolerate all the way till the day they retire, which is quite miserable, right? So this reality really hit me a bit earlier than I thought when I was in physio school. It's so common for guys like me, especially when we were in our 20s, to want, big muscles, and naturally we just went to the gym and started doing ego lifting. We think that just by lifting heavier and heavier weights that we cannot control properly, ironically, we will have proven ourselves to someone, and that's exactly how my back pain first started. And of course, that was the start of the decline. So sad, right, to start declining in your 20s. As physio students as well, we get dispatched to the hospitals to do internships and start treating patients. One of the things that we really had to do was to transfer some of these less mobile patients from their beds over to the bedside chairs, and then back again whenever they wanted to rest and go to sleep. And that was when my back pain acted up again, and it was really, really bad. I was in so much pain that everything I did, even just moving the mouse, straightening my back, everything I did, it hurt like hell. I remember thinking, if my back hurts so much now, how am I supposed to cope with this in the future when I'm older? And the pain itself made everything so much worse, as if it was throwing salt on my wounds. My starting salary as a working physio in the hospital was only $2,800. After CPF, that's just like $2,200 take-home salary. Assuming a 3% increment yearly, I figured that the money wouldn't even be enough to pay for my medical bills once I retire because of my disabling back pain. This realization felt like somebody slapped me in the face really hard, and I went so deep into investing after that because I felt like I needed to dig myself out. I consumed so much investing education and courses, desperate to dig myself out of this hole that I ended up in. It was not enough to stake my entire physical body and future on having only a full-time job. I needed to also start building my investing portfolio outside of work so that I can secure a somewhat better future for myself. And that's also why I chose $10,000 as the title of this video for you guys, to have it really just as a starting point for investing. If you're around 30 years old, similar to me, I'm 31 this year, you should realistically have at least $10,000 of savings by now. If you don't, you honestly gotta re-audit your life properly. Maybe a little bit too much Hai Di Lao, a bit too much drinking glug after your work, so better cut down on that to make sure that you have enough money to start your retirement. But $10,000 isn't going to change your life overnight, but it's also not small enough for you to just gamble it away like it's nothing. It's big enough to make you take investing seriously so that you can start trying things out for yourself and start building an investment portfolio that can hopefully help you do your job with a bit more of a peaceful state of mind. So once you're mentally ready to invest, the next mistake most people make is rushing to buy stocks so quickly as if investing is that easy. It's not rocket science, but it's not like your usual shopping without thinking either. The first decision that actually matters is where you put your money, and for me, before choosing any broker, I only cared about 3 main things. Listen carefully, because this alone will save you hours of research, second guessing, and eventually giving up due to analysis paralysis. The most important thing, especially in your 30s, is safety safety. You want to be able to invest into things that allow you to sleep well at night. I'm so serious about my sleep that I even paid over $300 a year for a Whoop subscription for this Whoop watch right here, just to track my stress and sleep. So if my money doesn't feel safe, no returns in the world are worth it. Which is why it brings us to the Longbridge Singapore app, and even though it's a slightly newer platform, they are licensed by the Monetary Authority of Singapore and they use DBS Bank as the custodian bank. That means your money is segregated and not mixed with the company's day-to-day operating funds, which gives me a lot more peace of mind, especially since I already use DBS to store my own personal emergency savings. The next thing I looked at was fees. If you're investing long-term, commissions are super important because they slowly eat away your portfolio whenever you buy or sell stocks. Hopefully, if you're investing for the long term, you're only buying the stocks and not selling them too much, right? I'm joking, you can do whatever you want. Longbridge offers lifetime $0 commission for Singapore, US and Hong Kong stocks, and it's not completely free because you still have to pay the standard platform fees, same as any other brokers out there. That means more of my money stays invested instead of losing them to commissions over time. Once those two boxes were cleared, I just wanted something easy and frictionless to begin. The account setup is also simple. Download the Longbridge Singapore app, set up the account with your SingPass login, and it should be approved usually within the same day. Deposits are pretty simple as well. All you have to do is log into the app, click on Portfolio, click on Deposit, and then select SGD, and then click on Pay Now. I usually use Pay Now. Once you click on it, select the amount that you want to sort of deposit into your account. Let's say 10k for example, generate QR code. All you have to do, save this QR code, head back to your bank app, make sure you complete the deposit, and voila, the money should be deposited. And you should see the successful deposit notification pop up on your Longbridge Singapore app. If you haven't downloaded the app before, Longbridge Singapore is running a December only promotion where new users can receive a 5% interest on the first $5,000 parked in Cash Plus funds, and that's only available if you sign up using my exclusive link down below. Separately, if you meet the deposit and buy requirements, you can also qualify for stock bundles made up of Nvidia and Apple shares with rewards going up to $1,200, depending on how much you deposit and invest. If you're interested, I'll leave all the details down below and you can click the link in the description box, or you can scan the QR code here to get started. Once you're done with the deposit, this is where the fun part actually starts. But instead of rushing straight into stocks like a headless chicken, the very first place I'll personally start is the Longbridge Cash Plus, especially if you're new. This lets you get started safely, gain experience, and also make use of the new user promotion that we mentioned just now. Once you open the Longbridge Singapore app, all you need to do is click on Market, tap on Cash Plus, and then click Opt-in, and you'll be automatically subscribed to their Cash Plus funds. What Cash Plus does is pretty simple. It invests your idle cash on the platform into money market funds. If that sounds chim, don't worry, I'm gonna break it down for you. Money market funds are basically low risk funds that you can park your money in because they lend your money to reliable banks and institutions. They're also relatively liquid, which means you can withdraw your money whenever you need it, and as long as your money stays there, it earns daily interest. The easiest way to think about it is like it's an upgraded bank account. Safer than stocks, but better than leaving cash doing nothing and being eaten away by inflation. And on top of that, this is where the 5% interest boost promotion applies for new users. If you look at this screenshot here, you can see my money parked in the money market funds as well. You'll notice it pays me interest every single day. It's definitely not life-changing money, don't get me wrong, it's not meant to be that way, but what it does is to get your feet wet, build confidence, and help you start forming the habit of consistently investing. This is step 1 of learning how to use money to earn money for you. I like to think of this as hiring your first employee. The returns are small at the start, but it's exciting because for the first time in your life, your money is working for you instead of you having to work for someone else all the time. Full transparency, I also started my Longbridge account only in 2025 by making use of the new user promotion and depositing $10,000. As you can see here, my account value is currently now at $14,000, and you'll also notice the one Apple share in my portfolio, and that's the stock that I qualified for the previous new user promotions. I'm obviously not showing you my portfolio just to flex, but I'm actually showing you that I'm using this platform myself and I'm practicing what I preach. So the goal here isn't to rush or gamble, it's to build consistency and get comfortable managing money so that in the future you're ready to handle a bigger portfolio and take on more risk confidently and with a bit more stability and emotional control. And that brings us to the most important question in this video. How would I actually invest $10,000 if I was just getting started? I'm trying to put myself in your shoes right now, and one of the biggest misconceptions I see is this idea that you need to find one magical stock or crypto coin that's going to change your life overnight, as if investing is that easy. I would be so rich by now if I could just find that one stock or one coin, but you know, it hasn't happened for me. So people go around asking their uncles, their aunties, or just scrolling TikTok for the latest hot tip day, hoping that it somehow solve everything. Little do they know that all they're doing is just getting themselves busy and procrastinating actual investing. But the reality is, for most people, investing isn't that one-hit wonder. A much more realistic picture is actually consistently investing over a long period of time to slowly build a portfolio that's big enough to support your retirement. And because investing is a long journey, and I don't know if you've seen this in a lot of other videos before, but I want to think of this in a different way. How do you make it sustainable and fun for yourself? Because it's going to last for a long time, right? And one of the people that I watch and listen to a lot is Ali Abdaal, and he talks about this in his book Feel Good Productivity, that you become the most productive or efficient when you can enjoy the process. I'm paraphrasing it a bit and I might be butchering the meaning, but you get what I mean. When it comes to investing, that means following your curiosity. Are you curious about dividend stocks? Are you curious about ETFs, individual funds, tech stocks, whatever it is? Maybe you can even start in wherever you are working as your profession. I'm in healthcare, so maybe I can think about doing healthcare stocks or thinking about researching healthcare stocks, because that's where my expertise lies. So wherever expertise lies, you can also follow that as well. Your curiosity or your profession, one of those two things can be something to really go into. And there's no single correct portfolio that works for everyone. And that's why investing is so personal. It's not about picking the best stock, but about picking the best investments that fit you. You need enough self-awareness to build a portfolio that grows over time, matches your risk tolerance, and still lets you sleep well enough at night without constantly stressing about it. I was at this exact crossroads about 2 years ago, deciding between dividend stocks and index funds. Instead of overthinking it forever, I decided to experiment for it myself, and I just went for it. I built a $60,000 dividend portfolio made up of Singapore banks and REITs. They paid me 2 to 3 times a year, and it was actually really fun getting the dividends because it felt closest to passive income, even though I personally don't believe in passive income. Nothing worthwhile in life is ever passive, at least that's my own belief. So once I've satisfied that itch and learned from the experience, I gradually shifted towards index funds like the S&P 500, which better match my long-term goals. I documented this entire journey on my channel in case you didn't notice, but I'm really glad I tried it, because now I don't second guess myself or keep going back and forth having shiny object syndrome all the time. So whatever you're curious about, do your research, start small and experience it for yourself. Think of this $10,000 not something to gamble, but as a learning tool, a way to build confidence, emotional stability, and good investing habits. Over time, that's what helps you build a more robust and sustainable retirement portfolio. Hopefully this video helps you to understand how to approach investing your first $10,000 in Singapore a little bit better than before. And if you enjoyed this video here, you'll probably enjoy this video here as well. Thanks for watching, have an amazing day as usual, and I'll see you guys in the next few videos. Bye bye.